Yo, it's DJ Semtex, and yo, this is a very different interview from when I first hooked up with this artist. The first time I hooked up with this artist, it was in the Hudson Hotel, New York City. Crazy different environment right now. With my man Logic. Yo, Logic, where we at?
We're in my crib in Los Angeles, California.
But I feel like this is a different world, bro. We're in your back garden, which is, you know, by UK standards, this is like a park. And we're overlooking this crazy view. Yo, man, this is like you're living the life, bro. You're doing good.
Thank you very much. That's really sweet of you to say. I really appreciate that. I worked pretty hard.
No, it's deserved.
But yeah, this is crazy. I can't believe it, man. It's like so wild. You know what's funny too is like before you guys showed up, I was just reading this book that I told you guys is like my favorite book that I've ever read, called Ready Player One. And I was like just in this zone, and it's just so cool that like you're here. And I don't know, man, just being able to just read a book on my sofa and then do a huge interview like this the next minute is so cool. So thank you guys for coming here. It really means a lot.
No, it's so good. It's so good. But, you know, is there any other, like, hip-hop industry rappers live in this area?
I don't know. I don't really follow rap, so I'm not too sure.
Okay.
Not in a bad way. I mean, rap's great. I don't know, man. I just keep to myself. I've learned to do that over the time, because when I first started, I wanted to be like, you know, I think every rapper, especially when you love hip-hop and you love your predecessors and those who came before you, you know, you want to be the number one, the guy, the number one rapper and this. But as I've gotten older, I realized all that's just bullshit and for me, and I'm just happy to be healthy and to be surrounded by people I love, like my wife and my little puppy dogs that you guys met on when you walked in here, and that I get to wake up every day and do what I love, which is make music, not just rapping, but making music. So anyway, long-winded answer, I don't know who lives around here.
But I mean, this
Kevin Hart lives up the street though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, me and my wife were in the car yesterday and he was jogging.
Okay.
I thought that was crazy.
All right. And did you record here, like your last project?
Oh yeah, I did. I recorded right down there in the guest house at the bottom. There's a whole studio. Actually, before you guys leave, I'll show you. It's pretty cool. Yeah, I spent a decent amount of money on making sure that when you walk in, it doesn't feel like anything else but a straight up studio, and that's where I recorded all of the last album.
So let's talk about everybody.
Yeah.
All right, this is like the victory lap moment because the album's come out and everything else. Like, you're about to go on tour. How do you feel about how it's been received?
I think it's been received great because like before it came out, I was already noticing that things were like really huge and like I was getting recognized and all this, you know, where I would go. But now it's like I literally can't go anywhere without being stopped or like people freaking out, and that just lets me know that things are going really well, you know. And so I'm happy in general because there's so many things that I discussed on this album that I've never talked about before, and I'm just happy that I don't know, man. I'm happy that like whether people love it or hate it, at least it's me and they know it's me, you know. And I always say this: I'd rather be hated for who I am than loved for who I'm not. And I'm just really happy to be so comfortable in my skin. It's dope.
What was the most challenging thing that you talked about in the album?
The most challenging thing, maybe my race. Probably that, just because I've never discussed being biracial before, and then ever since I've done, everybody's like, oh, like wants to give me shit about being proud of who I am, which is fine, because once again, people are going to love it or hate it. That's probably the most challenging, because my whole career, it was always like, oh yeah, white rapper, you're white, or this or that, or da-da-da, and it was like people telling me what I am and who I am, but I'm like, no, I'm biracial, I'm black and white, and this is how I identify. Don't tell me who I am or what I'm not or this or that. So that was the scariest thing because, you know, I had already known that I had gotten shit for being proud of who I am and talking about it, and then people still trying to be like, oh, you know, not knowing who I am. But now it's almost like a running joke where people are like, we get it, you're biracial. Well, it's like, well, finally. So cool, you can make fun of me all you want for being biracial, but at least you're calling me what I'm telling you I am, you know, and you know, clown me, but at least you're respecting me enough to clown me for who I am, you know what I mean, which is funny.
So, I mean, is that the right term? Do you think biracial? Is it, you know, some people say mixed heritage, some people say mixed race, some people
I think it's like, who gives a shit? It's just whatever you're into. I'm biracial, I'm mixed, half-breed, whatever you want to call me. I'm black and white. I'm proud. That's who I am. It's all good. You know, I don't know. You know, and some people they have their own take on that. Some people prefer like African American or this or that or whatever, you know. But where I'm from, everybody just say, hey, you're black or you're white or you're this, and that's fine. And to whatever, if you want to be called African American or you want to be called this, I will respect you and call you that because that's how you wish to be addressed. But not a lot of people are like that. They're like, this is what I know, so this is what I'm gonna say.
2017, how does it feel to be an American?
Damn. Well, I think, honestly, not even to try to sound weird, but like, if anybody really wants to know, all they got to do is listen to America off the album. You know, I really discuss the state of like where we are and what we're doing. Damn, why is there all these flies out here right now? Is this bugging you?
No, I'm good.
All right, but if you want to go into the studio at any time, we can do that.
Yeah, we'll do that, but right now, you know, this is like, yo, this is serene, bro. This is nature. This is amazing. Like,
yeah, for sure.
Can't, you know, just about hear traffic, like, you know, it's crazy.
True that.
Crazy environment. But yeah, the reason why I was asking about how does it feel to be an American, and obviously I've listened to your album, fans have listened to your album, but it's just the way that the political landscape's changed since we last hooked up. It's like, you know, it's just crazy what's going on over here and even in the UK as well. It's like everything's moving.
For me, man, and not to try to like jade your question, but like, the times that we live in are really messed up, and it's been like that. It's not like things have just changed, you know. We've always been going through hard times, and I'm not necessarily that guy. Like, and this is what I mean. Like, I really mean this respectfully, but like the shit I talk about when it comes to politics and stuff, I just leave it in the music, because people are going to say whatever they're going to say, and I could say how I feel about Trump or this or that, or, you know, what's going on with racism and all this stuff, and it's like, no matter what I say, somebody's going to disagree or hate or try to like shit on my opinion, and that's fine.
But your opinion's important though, same way.
It is important, and that's why it's in the music, and if people truly care, they'll hear it. And that's not to jade and say like, oh, I don't want to talk about it, but you know, for me, it's like, I'm not even educated enough on everything that is happening day to day in America, let alone the world, to truly give my, you know, like opinion in full, because there's so much happening, you know what I mean? And it's like, you get one little thing wrong and then everybody attacks you, and I'm just, you know, forever I always thought that it was my job, like, to not be political and not talk about these things, and allow listeners and just day-to-day people to escape in my music, so that they wouldn't necessarily have to, if they're going out there and they're fighting their fight, whatever their fight is, that they could come home and listen to my music at the end of the night and just kind of escape. And it was this album that made me realize that it's actually deeper than that, and it's not about escaping. Sometimes it's about hitting things head on, so that, you know, you give people a voice that might not necessarily have had one before. And that's what I did with this album. So when it comes to the state of the country, of the world, of race and class and elitism and everything, I really do discuss it on the album for the most part, and I just try to keep it there. You know, I don't know how to explain it, and it's like, I don't want to. But it's almost like I don't want to spend all my time talking about this bullshit, because not with you. I mean, in general, I'm just venting at this point. Just because it's like, it sucks and it's so depressing, and I've already had to live through it. I've already had to talk about, you know, race and America and anxiety and suicide and all this shit on the album. But it is good to talk about it. Yeah. So I am happy that you're bringing it up. But it's like, I guess the biggest thing to me is like, fight it, deal with it, try not to dwell on it. You know what I mean? That's my biggest thing. Like, I love where I'm from. I love America, sure, but there's also a lot about it that, you know, I don't like, you know, and I knew what it was like to grow up in Section 8 householding and welfare and, you know, food stamps and being neglected by my country, and it sucks. So in many ways, I like try to be the voice for those people who might feel like they don't have one.
The America joint's dope. Like, how do you hook up with Black Thought?
Yo, that was crazy. Actually, I first met Black Thought, who's like my favorite MC of all time, when I did Jimmy Fallon for my first album. Around the time that we met, actually, first time we met, and he was there because he's, you know, the Roots, and obviously they're all together on that show, and he was just so cool, man. He was really nice, and he was like, yeah, we got to do a joint, and I was like, for sure. And so it took a few years because I didn't want to rush it, and I wanted it to be just right. And then once I made that beat, he was the first person I went to. I was like, yo, I gotta have you on this. And then once I had him, that's when I went to No ID, and then was like, yo, you trying to rap for the first time in 20 years or what? And then he did it, and then, yeah, so it was just one of those things that was, oh, and Chuck D, like, come on, dog.
How do you get Chuck D on the track?
You just ask. You just ask, and I think if you have enough, because I didn't know him, right. So I had to like reach out and just be like, hey. And I think there's that respect. Like I don't walk around. The music that I make, man, it has substance and it has a message, and there's truly something there. And I think real recognize real at the end of the day. And I'm not here trying to impress nobody. I'm not playing that game. I just wanted to spread a positive message and say something real and honest. And I think everybody on the track realized that, understood that, and wanted to help me paint that picture I was trying to tell the world.
You'll say what Kanye won't. Yeah,
that was pretty dope. And for the record, I love Kanye West. You know what I mean? But I was like, man, where's my idol right now? Like, how come he's not saying what, you know what I mean? Like, I wish, like, the Kanye of today would have let off, like, Kanye to George W. Bush. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it was just like, man. And it's not even, like, a slight. It's just an honest, like, man, it's like this dude that I really love and respect. I wish he would say something, and he's not. So what would Kanye do? WWKD, like, here we go. And then I did it, you know what I mean? So, yeah.
Is your pool bigger than Kanye's?
Nah, I probably not. It's pretty big. It's not. I like it. Yeah, but I don't know if it's bigger than Kanye's though. That's funny.
All right. So, album. I know you talked about it a lot. You've done the formal run and everything else, but this is the first time we've connected in it. So, like, in a while. So, what to you is the most important track on the album?
Probably Africaryan. That's just for me personally, because, like, on that song, for me, it's about everything I've ever gone through racially. And that's another thing, I never once discussed my race on an album. It's the first time I've ever done it. So it was like, this is my story and this is what it is. And this is not me saying that my story is any more or less important than this or that or anybody else's struggle. Like, nah, fam, it ain't that deep. Like, it's just, I'm venting, man. It's just.
I mean, was it really that a bigger deal out here? Because when I heard you talking about it on the track, I was like, okay. Everyone else in the UK is like, oh, okay. In the UK,
you're right.
Kind of not a big deal at all.
Exactly. In the rest of the world, it's not really that big of a deal. But in America, like, the whole black versus white thing, and that's why, like, even the song Africaryan is like, that's how I felt in America. Like, I was either like to racist white folk, like I jumped out of Africa, or to, like, black people who may not be educated on who I am as like racially and just as a person. They look at me like I'm some racist Aryan person. Like, that's literally how I feel in America.
Serious?
100%. Yeah, dog. Like, everywhere I go, people like shit on me or try to demean me or like whatever, just because of my appearance. Like, fam, I like Star Wars. I'm a happily married man with 2 corgis. I like to read books, and people are like, oh, you're this or that or whatever. I swear to God, like, they do that all the time, and they say horrible things and hurtful things about me and my family and the people I love. And a lot of it is based off how I look, and they'll say things like, what rapper, like, that's some white shit. Nobody does that. Like almost trying to, like, demean the black man.
Serious?
By saying, like, the black man don't like comic books, or the black man can't be a happily married person. Like, what? Like, to me, like, that's almost like demeaning of like, yeah, like, black culture. Like, what? But if you look around the rest of the world, that's why the world is more accepting. Like, oh, damn, that's understandable. Because, I mean, it's not really, I don't know how to explain it. Everywhere else I've ever gone, it's been more like, the whole thing would come up and somebody would be like, oh, being white or this or that. And I go, oh, I'm not white, I'm actually black and white. And they go, oh, wow, that's cool. Let's talk about that in a positive way. And America, it's like, nah, you're this or you're that, or you look white, or you ain't never had the struggle of a black man walking down the street. And I'm like, fam, I never even said that. All I'm saying is I'm just happy to be me. And I always think it's so funny that when people would try, and not to make all this about race, because I don't give a shit, but you asked. And so, you know what I'm saying? And that's usually where it comes down, because people will be like, why are you always talking about this? And I am proud, but it's always, other people who ask these questions. And for me, it's like, I'm proud. And I think it's funny because I know that if I never talked about it, and everybody was like, what's it like being a white rapper? And I was like, for years. And they just asked me, what's it like being white? What's it like being a white rapper? And I was like, it's fantastic. It's incredible. I love being a white rapper. It's so great. You get to drive and rap and you don't get pulled over by the police or like any of this dumbass shit. Like, could you imagine if I said that and then it came out that my dad was black and people would be like, oh, what are you, ashamed to be black? You don't want to talk about being black? So it's almost like, and this is all funny and I'm like poking fun at myself and society in this moment, but like, you're either one or the other. And that's the biggest thing I've learned about this album, that this album has taught me is, man, to be yourself. And the crazy thing is, like, so many people, especially in the States, aren't talking about like, yo, I talk about, some kid did the numbers, did the math that like I'm only talking about my race in my entire career on all my albums. It's like less than 1%.
Wow.
And so, but that's where, you know, and I get it, you know, but we tend to focus on shit like that. And for me, like I said, on this album, it's so much more than me. Because I literally, and for those out there that might not know, you know, this album is about a gentleman named Adam who's walking home from work, gets hit by a car, dies, wakes up in a white void talking to God, who tells him he's about to be reincarnated and that he's going to live every human life. It isn't until he's lived in the shoes of every man, woman, child, race, religion, color, creed, and sexual orientation that he can be taken from this plane of the flesh into the next existence. So I am literally on every song, which is only like 3 songs where I'm talking about myself, and the only time I talk about myself is my race. Every single other song on this album, I'm rapping from one of the perspectives of the lives that Adam has lived in the 21st century. Whether it's dealing with suicide, depression, anxiety, struggling as a young gay man who is trying to accept himself and find out who he is, or a single black mother with 3 children working 2 jobs and trying to get an education at the same time. But nobody wants to talk about that because we all want to go black and white and racism and all this shit. And it's like, man, I get it. These are things that need to be discussed, but like, this ain't about me. And everybody tries to make it about me or how I look or how I talk or you talk this way or nobody, like, you shouldn't like comic books. And that's why I'm so happy, like, the biggest thing, sorry to take away from this interview, whoever's listening, is like, dude, I'm so stoked that I get to be myself. I'm so happy that I can be me, that after all these years of thinking that I needed to act a certain way or be somebody else or this or that so that people would like me, I realized I need to like me and I need to be happy because all that matters in this life is my own happiness. That's all that matters. And hopefully, through me understanding and discerning that to be true, I can spread that same message to the people that are listening to this right now, to tell them, do what you love.
I got the same heritage. Well, not the same, similar heritage. My mum's black, my dad's white, and I experienced racism from both sides, different points.
Can you say you experienced what?
Racism from both sides.
One more time, let me get third time.
Racism from both sides.
That's real, dog. Yeah. And people act like that shit don't exist. Anyway, sorry, continue.
But I learned, like, that's it. It's just I am who I am. If you think this, great. If you don't, you don't, and that's it. So it's kind of like, but for me, it's kind of intriguing to hear from your point of view what you endure over here, because I didn't think it'd be like that out here. I thought it'd just be like, you know.
Oh no, it's probably the hard. It was the hardest part because, like you said, like being comfortable in your own skin and being happy with who you are is like the hardest thing in life. And it was this album that really made me understand that, like, no matter what I do, people are going to hate me. No matter what I do, as long as I put my heart into what I'm doing, people are going to love me as well. So here's a great example. I could release an album and blah, blah, blah magazine could say, yeah, I mean, you know, he's got potential, but he needs to change this, 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 and this. And then I go, oh my God, man, I want their approval. And I go do another album and I changed that, and that. And I put it out and they give it, 5 stars across the board. This is incredible. But then you got 9 other magazines going, he changed all the things about himself. That was great. So if I'm constantly looking for other people's approval, man, I'm never. Isn't
it just best to just ignore that? Like the reviews, and all of that. Like,
yeah. I mean, to an extent, I think the real people that's good to listen to are like true fans because, because
your numbers kind of say, right.
Yeah, totally.
And I'm not saying it's all about numbers, but like, what was it? But you sold like, and no doubt you'll correct me, but it's over 200,000 first week, right?
Yeah, it was like, it was like 250,000.
But to sell 250,000 albums in this day and age is not easy to do, and you did it without doing, like a commercial pop record or getting someone.
I had nothing on the radio. I sold more records than Harry Styles, bro, and that's no slight. I love you, Harry. I'm just simply saying, like,
but that says a lot, though.
That's crazy. That's One Direction. You know what I mean? And his music is dope. So, like, but that's what I want. This whole thing has taught me that, like, man, I don't give a shit about none of this status. I don't care about I just want to make music, man. And like since this album has come out, I've been trying to push myself so far. I want to sing without auto-tune. I want to sing and rap and play the piano, and I want to make music, man. I want to make music. Like I want to make pop music. Like legit. Like I'm pop culture, commercial, real ass music, man. Like Queen and Michael Jackson and all of these incredible artists out there, Kanye, you know what I mean, who have amassed something that only a small percentage has, and I don't want to, and also I'm not trying to discredit like rap and hip hop, and no. I mean, I love rap, I love hip hop. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is my mentality, and the mentality in the hip hop circle is be number one. You gotta be the best. You gotta be the greatest, and this and that. And then it's like then you end up fighting your brother. You know, you end up fighting another MC, or you got beef with him because he wants your spot and this and that. But it's like, at least both of you brothers ain't working at like McDonald's, you know? Not to say that McDonald's is a bad place to work, but I'm simply saying working at a place where you don't want to be, you know, because you want something high. Like at least you guys aren't, you know, still selling crack or killing each other or running around. But they don't think about that. We don't think about that because we're so focused on the number one and being the best and being the greatest. And it's like, I think about that all the time, man. And for me, I don't want that. I want to sing. I want to entertain, you know? I don't know if I ever told anybody this. This is really cool, and I'm not just trying to like drop this name. But in 2013, when nobody really gave a shit about me except my fans, it was a year before my album came out. I felt like magazines weren't posting me on their blogs and this and that and all this stuff. And I was so distraught. And I had an emotional breakdown. Like I was crying. Like legit, because I was like, I'm putting my everything into the world, and it feels like, you know, people are just like, shut up, and saying like the most horrendous, just terrible things to me, and I'm like, how could you say that to me? Like I've come from nothing, and you're just spewing these disgusting, horrible things my way and trying to like demean me, you know, racially and this and that or whatever. And I just didn't know what I was gonna do, and I felt so bad. And I had a conversation with Donald Glover, Childish Gambino. And I told him how I felt, and I was like, rap doesn't accept me, and hip hop and this and all this stuff. And he was like, are you a rapper or are you an entertainer? And ever since he said that, I was like, I'm an entertainer who raps. And when I realized that, and you know, fast forward all the things I had to go through to get to this point, now that I'm here, I truly realized, wow, I don't just want to rap. I don't want the number one rap album and the this and the that. I just want to entertain, and that means including rapping, you know what I mean? Because I love hip-hop, you know, don't get it twisted, like I love rap, but I'm just going to take myself out of that whole circle of trying to one-up my brothers, the people who inspire me, like I got to shit on them to be the best. No, I want them to win, and if it means I have to remove myself from that circle and create my own world to do it, that's what I'm going to do.
How do you want to be remembered?
Oh, dude, I want to be remembered as like a really kick-ass dad, you know, and like a good husband and a great friend with a big heart, hopefully, and a giver. That's it.